Thank
Seasons
you.
of life. I had to. Like we were
You
there.
had to.
Like
You
I
had
had to.
All right, Michael, are we doing this?
we are we are doing this. We're back. I'm like I don't know why I'm so like giddy today. I'm like a little like I'm like a little slap happy in a good way.
I've just had two back-to-back conventions, and my voice is a little low and raspy. I've almost lost my voice, and I feel like I'm Delilah.
I would say you're giving me full Delilah right now, which I'm living for.
Okay, well, I'm gonna lean into my inner Delilah on this episode and say,
Yes.
"Hi, I'm Ashley Eckstein."
Oh my gosh. Hi, I'm Michael James Scott. Actually, no, I need to match you. Hi, I'm Michael James Scott. And
And
welcome
welcome to
to Hype
HypeFriend.
Friend.
I don't even think that's how Delilah sounds.
No one can do Delilah. It's like as you know, I know Delilah, so I'm literally gonna make sure. I maybe we have to have Delilah on. That's actually what we
Yes,
need to do because, and then we have to like compare the voices.
we're going to manifest this. We have to get into Ashley Bakes.
Oh, oh yes, please. Can we please get into some Ashley Bakes?
Yes, except Ashley did not bake today.
Okay,
And
well, I don't understand why you've not been doing anything. Okay, well now, hold on, Miss Ashley Eckstein. I gotta talk directly to our amazing listeners. Okay, so here's the thing. Ashley is full on a woman who walks the walk. So she just recently did two like back to back conventions. In the midst of that, she was like giving you meetings and all the things. And then she took a red eye to get back home. And all of a sudden, like I saw her literally on a meeting that we had together, and she was back at home and in it and fully like in it. And P.S., before we started doing this episode today, she had already gone to Disney Springs and had already checked into Hollywood Studios. So I'm just
oh,
saying it's a lot. There's a lot going on. So anyway, continue. I'm sorry. I just needed to digress on the fact that like she is no joke.
well, I am committed. I am committed to Hype Friend. I am committed to my bakes. And, we've talked about this because, since we can't always do an episode together, and you can't always try my bakes. This morning, I didn't have a chance to bake, but I still wanted to, experience the joy that baking gives me.
Yes.
And I also thought I'd take this opportunity to hype someone up.
Ooh.
So I have this amazing cinnamon roll from Erin McKenna's bakery at Disney Springs.
Oh. First of all, I'm so mad at you right now.
I tried to deliver one to you, Michael. I tried and I couldn't get it to you in time.
Oh my gosh, that bakery is so. Oh my gosh, that is. Oh my, I'm obsessed. I mean, it was you that introduced us to that bakery.
Yes. So, okay, I'm going to hype up Erin McKenna's for a second. So, back in like 2010 is when I first discovered that I should avoid dairy and egg if possible,
Mm.
because it causes me headaches. And that was devastating to me at the time because I love my sweets. We know this. And in most things, they contain dairy and egg. And then I found Erin McKenna's. Now,
Yes.
Erin is a pioneer, literally a trailblazer in the allergy friendly bake scene. She's been doing it forever. I mean, literally, I think she was one of the first. And she had a bakery in New York and a bakery in LA. That's where I first found her. And then a bakery at Disney Springs.
Oh.
And literally, it's gluten free, vegan, no preservatives, kosher, literally no artificial dyes, like all natural, whole ingredients. And it's just a very safe facility where if you have allergies, you can eat here. And she's been, fueling my dessert obsession ever since. If I don't have time to bake, I go to Erin McKenna's. They've made my birthday cakes, they've
Oh.
made all of our celebrations. And Michael, do you want to share the best surprise that you and your husband Jeremy gave me on my last birthday while
Oh.
I dig into the cinnamon roll?
Well, yes, Jeremy and I were like, okay, we gotta send our girl Ashley, something fierce. And we're also in the same situation of the allergy friendly, bakes, if you will. And my husband, like, he is a cinnamon, like, it's Jeremy Cinnamon Merrifield. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like he loves cinnamon. Okay. So the cinnamon bun situation is no joke. Well, we decided to send Miss Ashley Eckstein a dozen because one was not enough, a dozen cinnamon rolls, and it was a lovely surprise. And we knew that she and David would enjoy. But it's so good, and you, like you said, you don't have to worry about feeling, that it could be something bad, especially if you have, real allergy issues and all of that stuff. It's very, very, very safe and beyond tasty. Oh my gosh,
So
I'm
good.
so jealous right now. You are literally like,
So good.
how I'm so mad at you. I'm like, this is a gripe right now.
This is a gripe. This is a gripe. Well, I haven't had a chance to eat breakfast yet this morning. So there's literally no better breakfast right now than a cinnamon roll from Erin McKenna's.
Oh,
But another reason why I wanted to hype up Erin McKenna's, I haven't actually met her yet. I cannot wait to meet her and just thank her for just all of the deliciousness that she has brought to my life.
yes.
But I've been following her on Instagram for years, and it's been devastating to follow the past several months because Erin and her family unfortunately lost their home in the Pacific Palisades fire,
Oh,
and she's documented it on Instagram. So I'm not sharing anything that isn't public, but it's been incredible to watch their journey and their resilience, and she's been very open and honest about her devastation and where she's at mentally and trying to pick up the pieces and move on while also running a business and being a mom and having a family and so what that looks like day to day. So I thought, you know what?
wow.
She doesn't know us yet, but we're two of her biggest hype friends.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought, why not, since I couldn't bake today, why not use this segment to hype up Erin McKenna's? So yeah, Hype Friend's gonna hype.
That's right. Hype it up, Aaron McKenna. We're sending you a lot of love. And I know you got a lot of friends, but you got two hype friends right here in your
Hmm.
corner. So we can't wait. We're putting it out there. We want you on this
Hmm.
podcast.
So already we're manifesting two future guests, Delilah and Erin McKenna.
I know. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh
So
my gosh. Well, let's get into speaking of, well, I guess I kind of already started it, but I do have a different gripe. But
okay, what are your hypes and gripes, Michael?
okay, I'm going to set the scene for you. You get up. You get up in the morning. It's like, oh, lovely. The sun is shining, beautiful. Oh my gosh, lovely. You go up, you go into the kitchen. It's clean, like you've cleaned the kitchen from the night before. All the
That's such a
things,
good
which is a
feeling.
great feeling. That's a
Such a good
that's a
feeling.
hype actually. I like, oh, that's so nice. You open the dishwasher to like unload the dishwasher, and you forgot to start the dishwasher.
I
The
hate
way
when that
the
happens.
way that is a gripe, and the way that my entire like morning fierceness goes from like yes to like is real. Like it is real. It is fully real. And for those of you who are listening, I just made a face of basically like disgust. So that is my gripe.
Oh man, that's a good gripe. That's a good gripe. That literally can like turn your morning
Oh
around.
my gosh, like it really like when I tell you, and I'm a morning. I actually love the morning. It's like I do. I feel like I'm like
Yep.
Belle in the morning. I'm like little town, like living my life, right?
Oh my
But the
gosh.
fact that it's like when you open up that thing, and that's like good morning, Belle, and you're like, excuse you.
Okay, Michael, we've started with, your gripes this morning, but what's hyping you up? What's your hype?
You know, so this was interesting. I my hype is actually I gotta shout out to one of my amazing cast members, who you know what? I'm not gonna say their name because they actually are very undercover and they like to keep it undercover. So I won't say their names, but they know exactly who I'm talking about. We were both getting on the elevator at work, at the theater, and it was just the two of us in the elevator, and I have it's like you come to work, you're doing a thing, and I think particularly that day, like I just was kind of just like in my sort of like work mode, right? Just kind of like putting my head down and like doing my work, right? Coming in, hey, how y'all doing, and just doing it, and this cast member literally just out in the middle of the conversation we were sort of just talking about how our off days were and blah blah blah, and they said to me, hey, I just wanted to say to you, we see you, and all that you do in our show and what you do, how you are around the building, is it's very appreciated, and
Wow.
just want you to know we see you. And I was like,
I love that.
and, and so I was kind of like in a crazy way, take your own advice when you like when someone gives you a compliment, you say thank you. I didn't even really, I couldn't, I was just like, thank you. And in that moment, I thought, wow, like, I guess it was just one of those things where it was so nice to just hear someone say that and feel like okay, because like everybody else, I I have my down days.
Yes.
I am not always like, hey, like really in your face, like, oh my god, hi, like I'm not. Right?
We're
So
all like that.
we all exactly. So I think it was, and I don't know if it was necessarily a down day as much as it was just sort of like a normal day, you
Yeah.
know. And I was doing my normal MJS thing, coming into work, and someone literally kind of just stopped me in my tracks and said that, and it was a really beautiful thing. And so I think wherever you are at work, whatever it is that you do, it was an amazing reminder that when you see someone, a colleague, do something, or them just like going about their day doing work, and shout them out. You know what I mean? Like give them a little compliment, and just sort of say, "Hey, I see you." It really is a wonderful thing, a small little thing that goes so far, to the point where I was like, the way I'm about to let this audience have it tonight, like it hyped me up so much. You know what I mean?
I love
Like
that.
I was like, okay, and and I'm already hyped. So that took me to, I was like,
That
oh
took
my
you from a
gosh.
10 to a
It was,
20.
yeah, it was very very kind. So anyway, that's my hype, and I thank you so much to my amazing cast member, for that lovely, beautiful little gift. That
I'm
was a
obsessed with this hype.
yeah,
One of the
yeah,
worst feelings in the world is to feel invisible.
yeah,
And we've talked about this before. And one of the best feelings in the world is to feel seen
yeah.
and to feel visible. So yes, shout out to your castmate. That's an incredible hype. I love
Yeah, yeah. Well, I see you, Miss Ashley Eckstein. So what is your what are your hypes and your gripes?
that. Well, so my hype and my gripe today are once again one and the same.
Mm,
Um, as you know, earlier this year, I got to go to Star Wars Celebration in Japan, and
Yes. It looked amazing.
it
Oh my
was,
gosh.
it was, and you know, literally two of my favorite things on the planet are Japan and Star Wars Celebration. So those two things combined was just like my dream come true. But you know, a lot of people don't know that my kind of love affair with Japan goes all the way back to 2014. Um, and it's so funny because Japan was not necessarily on the top of my travel list. Of course, everyone wants to go there. But,
Yeah.
you know, for me, it wasn't, you know, I had so many other things where I was like, okay, I want to go here and I want to go there. And then I got a call one day and said, hey, would you like to meet with Studio Ghibli? They're looking for a North American licensee to bring their product to the U.S. and to Canada, and so I was like, well, yeah, oh my gosh, of course, I'm
Like
a
the
huge fan.
Studio Ghibli.
The Studio Ghibli. I mean, of course, I'm a fan of their films, a massive fan, and part of the deal of working with them was the expectation that you would go to Japan and meet with them at least once a year, and you would get to know their culture and really immerse yourself in their films. And so I'll never forget the first time I went to Japan. I just completely fell in love with it. And it
Yeah.
was like a piece of my heart that, uh, you know, it was like, if your heart is a puzzle, it was a missing piece
Mm.
that, I didn't even know belonged in the puzzle, but literally, my love affair with Japan started. I've traveled all over with them. I've obviously throughout Tokyo and Osaka and Kyoto, and they just take each and every opportunity to explain what's important to them, why it's important to them, about their culture, how they treat people, and I just genuinely. Japan has a place in my heart now. So whenever I get to go over there, it makes me so happy. Not only because I get to once again experience this beautiful country, but now I have friends that
Yeah.
I consider just such an important part of my life. And so I'm hyping up the fact that when I was last there, I got to spend an entire day with my friends from Studio Ghibli. They took me all over Tokyo for what we called a fun day. And they once again exposed me to their culture and new places that I hadn't been. And then at the end of the day, even more friends came and we had a big group dinner. I found myself so grateful for these friendships with an entire group of people who live in a different country. I barely get to see them. At most, I get to see them once a year. But it's been such a beautiful many friendships that have been cultivated over several years. So that's my hype. I'm hyping up the fact that I have these unexpected friends that have become a very, very, very important part of my life, and I can't imagine my life without them in it. And I am just such a proud hype friend, not only of Studio Ghibli, but of also the people that work there. My gripe is the fact that at most I only get to see them once a year. And, I think friendship in general, sometimes you just connect with people so deeply and you're like, we're meant to be friends, but then you don't get to see them that much. And that's my gripe. It's like,
Mm.
obviously we've discussed, and that's part of what this podcast is about is, how to stay in touch and keep in touch. And I do. I keep in touch via email and we do Zoom calls and we'll send care packages. But, my friends at Studio Ghibli, I only really get to see them once a year, or some of them only every couple of years. So there's a sadness there. When I say goodbye, it's like, I'm not going to get to see you for a while, and that makes me sad. So, so yeah, it's important to stay in touch, but I think
Absolutely.
it's also important to make the effort to see people in person. And even if it means traveling to Japan, I'm going to do whatever it takes to to continue these friendships and foster these friendships. Those are my hypes and my gripes. I need another bite of my cinnamon roll. Uh, and I hear that you have a good gossip story. So I'm going to take
Yes.
a bite and
Okay,
tell us your
yes.
good gossip.
I will tell you a good gossip story. Oh my gosh, as you live on your cinnamon roll. So this is actually pretty mind blowing on so many levels. So we all know the great, Hollywood A-list actor that is Keanu Reeves. Um,
Yes.
you know, uh, so there's an incredible thing. Now we all know in as being a Hollywood star, but what we don't know is Keanu Reeves actually someone who really walks the walk with giving to charity and to foundations. Amazing work. Get this. So Keanu donated 70% of his original earnings from The Matrix,
What?
which it ended up being like $31.5 million, right?
What?
Right. And partly this was in support of his younger sister Kim, who had been battling cancer for like 8 years. And the crazy thing about all of this is he had done an interview with, I believe it was Ladies Home Journal, and the reason why it came out was because the journalists from Ladies Home Journal pressed him basically and found out that the interview was nothing about the cancer research. They pressed him and they were like,
Wow.
"Hey, this happened," and they basically found out the information and outed him because he doesn't put
Wow.
his name on any of the foundations at all, and there's multiple ones.
Wow.
So literally it was like investigative journalism basically.
I
and they
love that.
and they basically said it. And then he said and it kind of came out that he just doesn't put his name on any of those foundations. It's all about the work. Can you even like
That's amazing.
that's
That is some
incredible.
good gossip.
Okay, Ashley. So we gotta I like I can't even barely talk because this guest is like family, and so it's
Yes.
just it's a very exciting thing. So let's do an intro and let's get her in here, please, because
Okay. Okay.
this is ridiculous. So please, ladies and gentlemen, and our incredible community out there. So Ashley Brown is a Broadway veteran, singer, actor, dancer, best known for originating the iconic role of Mary Poppins in Mary Poppins on Broadway, also on the U.S. national tour, and also playing Belle in Beauty and the Beast on Broadway. She has done many other shows. I mean, the resume, we could go on and on and on. She's a renowned concert artist who has done countless concerts, solo concerts around the country with countless orchestras, also doing her own show at Carnegie Hall. Can you even? She's an Outer Critics Drama Desk and Drama League nominee, a proud wife, a gorgeous mama of ridiculous, beautiful little girls. Please give it up for our amazing friend, Ashley Brown!
Yay!
Yay!
That intro, Michael, you hired.
We had to give the intro, honey. We had to let them
Honey.
know. Okay, this is so Ashley Brown. Just so you know, Ashley Eckstein and I, like, you were one of our first people
Absolutely.
on the list, right, Ash? Like, we were
Oh,
literally like, we
and
gotta get her on.
yes, when we started talking about bringing Hype Friends onto the show, and then also as we build out our neighborhood. So, Ashley, we call this segment "Welcome to the Neighborhood," and part of being a hype friend is also building your own personal neighborhood and surrounding yourself with people that support you and that hype you up. And you were literally at the top of our list because we both know you in two very different ways. So we were calling you our neighborhood roommate.
For lots of reasons. Oh my gosh, I love this. And I'm so thankful that it's finally worked out. I know schedules and everything. I've been dying to make this happen. And I'm so thankful that y'all included me and thought of me. That's one of the first people. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Love
Well,
y'all.
I wonder if we should well, before we get into the I think we should give like our histories real quick. Like let's
Yes.
set that up, right? Like
Our
Yes.
origin story, which Michael, I think you and Ashley met first. Is that correct?
Yes.
Ashley and I met first because we go back to high school days, don't we, Miss Ashley Brown?
Yes, we do. We go all the way back to high school. And once everybody that's listening hears the connection of the three of us, it is really crazy. Because it's like, not only did we all meet and I knew y'all knew each other, but then like where we've ended up, I don't want to give away the end of the story, but we all know each other now.
It's
Just where we've ended up professionally and personally, that's brought us all three like back together is like truly it's like we made it up.
it's
It's like a
absolutely.
Disney movie.
Yes,
Yay.
yes,
It
yes.
is.
So Ashley and I go back to high school days. We did, like the Florida Thespian Festival. We would see each other there. We also went to Broadway Theater Project, which is, basically camp. Broadway, an
Mhm.
incredible theater camp where we also got to meet, and we literally like throughout that. I mean, we go back to AOL days where we
Oh
would
yeah,
like.
I was just about to say that. Like when you hear like to like get your I'm sure that was a lovely sound on the microphone.
Oh,
Um
yes. For
but
those that don't know, that's called dial up.
that's right. That's right.
Yes, and we
But
like talked on the landline.
yes, oh yeah. Like we had to leave a message on a like an answering machine, you know? And like our moms had to be like, Michael called. Um but I remember because Michael and I in high school, so I'm from Gulf Breeze, Florida. It's a small town near Pensacola, and Michael's from Orlando, obviously. And I just remember we weren't even really in the same group at Broadway Theater Project, and yet we still found each other because the good Lord knew like we're going to be friends. Like he's like these two work, you know. And so I mean I know we ended up in Dave Clemens together, like the group number with him, and that's what brought us together. But I mean I remember just being like nuts to playing with Michael, which I know a lot of people are because you're just so infectious and happy and loving and such a great friend. Um, but I think it was just we were drawn to each other, and then because of dial up and life and everything, that was only during the summer. And then in college, we both got cast at the Muni, which is the regional theater at um, St. Louis,
Yep.
and we hadn't talked in a few years just because being a pen pal is hard. And I couldn't text Michael and be like, hey, but I will never forget is I looked at the cast list the very first day of rehearsal at the Muni and I was like, who's on the list? That's what my finger did. And and I said, stop it. Michael James Scott. And then we were like, the Muni, for you don't know, was like this massive outdoor theater. We were on the outdoor like performance platform and I saw him across and we like Baywatched run towards each other. Like we were like except I wasn't in a bathing suit.
But I was.
Just a speedo to get to know you guys.
Absolutely on the first day. Definitely cute little booty shorts.
Yes,
Oh
Amy.
my
Well,
gosh.
you know what? It is hot enough there to get away with that.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and then obviously by the time in college, we had a lot more ways to keep in touch. I mean, we're making ourselves sound like colonial people. Um, but we're not that old. But then we kept in touch, and then it's like I remember when I was cast in Mary Poppins, and we were like when I was auditioning for Mary Poppins on Broadway, and I remember just walking down Ninth Avenue, and Michael goes, "Ashley, if you get cast as the original Mary Poppins on Broadway, like I really like don't know, like." She's like, I think this is about to happen. I was like, I don't know. And it was just like, and of course, Michael at that point was on his like 18th Broadway show. But I was like, I just will never, it's such a vivid memory. And now looking forward, now Michael's in the same theater where I did Mary Poppins. And like his Disney journey started shortly after that, or around the same time with Tarzan, actually, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes. I mean, it literally is crazy. And also for those of you out there, like Ashley and I both sang at each other's weddings. Like there's just like it's just an amazing connection that we just have stayed connected throughout all of these
Yeah.
years, which is
Yeah.
amazing. Cut to Cut
too.
to, as you
Well,
mentioned, now Ashley Eckstein. Please tell y'all's connection.
Yeah, so I feel like cut to and then rewind,
Yes.
because it also started in high school, kind of,
mhm.
because, as we've established, Michael and I went to high school together. And so I was also at the Florida State Thespian Festivals. And I'll never forget sitting in the audience and watching you and I think it was Abigail Spencer
Yes.
perform your duet on stage. So you had one state with this duet, and I was in awe. Like, do you even remember? Was it from Les Mis? Do you remember what
No, it
song you
was
sang?
No,
oh,
Jekyll and
it,
Hyde.
in his eyes, honey.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And I was
I was
just
the
in
top
awe.
pair.
I mean, literally, in terms of like Florida State Thespian Festival, you were famous. I mean,
Absolutely.
genuinely, like you were renowned. And so, cut to, I mean, I think we must have met at some point in high school because we knew each other enough to at least know who we were. But
Yeah.
now, cut to college orientation. So we were both accepted into CCM, Cincinnati Conservatory of Music. I was going for drama, you were going for musical theater. And we really didn't know anyone in the freshman
Mhm.
class. And so during orientation, I remember it's like, okay, well, we both know each other. We're both named Ashley. So, duh,
Yeah.
we're going to be
Yeah.
friends instantly. And
And I
so we
also
sat
remember,
together.
our moms like really started chatting it up almost like
Yes,
before we did. And like I was like, okay, Marsh, better meet and greet at my orientation. But I'm gonna be like,
that's
okay,
true.
yeah, our moms like really hit it off too.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true. But all I remember, and I'd love your recollection of this as well, is it came to where we had to pick roommates. We just looked at each other and we're like, hey, you want to be roommates?
Yeah,
And then the rest was history. We became college roommates.
we were college roommates in Sedal Hall.
We both have two sisters. And so I just remember, it was like we were peanut butter and jelly. We just fit together perfectly. And because some people, you know what? Some people you like them, but you're not great roommates with
Yeah.
them. I just feel like we were meant to be roommates. Unfortunately, it was very short lived because I ended up leaving college. That's a whole other story. And I will say, we'll get to that later because that's kind of a big regret I have is
Really?
that not necessarily leaving college, but I genuinely think that I'm so grateful that the world of Disney brought us back together. But I genuinely felt like, wow, Ashley Brown and I would be like ride or die, like
Mhm.
BFF had I stayed. Like, I think
Yeah.
we genuinely would have like continued to be roommates. And so I'm so grateful that the world of Disney brought us back together, but we'll get to that in a minute. But we were roommates for, you know, two quarters of our freshman
Yeah.
year. I
Like
remember.
almost a year.
Yeah, almost a year. And I'll never forget. First of all, a couple funny stories. We were both very messy. So our dorm room was so small. And both of us,
Literally 2 bugs.
it was two beds, like a shoebox. And we had so many clothes.
So many clothes. But you know what? We were cute.
We were,
Obviously. Obviously.
Yes.
I had blue satin pants. But I'll never forget, we didn't do laundry enough. And so our entire floor was covered in our clothes. Like you literally couldn't see the floor. And I remember having to like run and then just like jump up on the bed. So we were like
It was
walking on our
so bad.
clothes. It was
It
so
was
bad.
so bad.
I am so obsessed with all of this right now. Like it is absolutely great. Our listeners probably are just like, what is going on?
It is a whirlwind
Oh.
of friendship, a whirlwind of friendship.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on there because, you know, when we talk about friendship and for us being a hype friend and all the things, you are literally like a big major hype friend for so many people, and I feel like you are an example of like what Ashley and I talk about, in terms of just being someone who really is a hype friend. And I know that friendship and all, like, you have many many friends and all of the things, and I know that it's important to you. I know that
Mhm.
friendship is important to you. You grew up with a big family. You grew up with a lot of energy and like friends and laughter and all the things around you. I mean, why is friendship, I guess, just sort of starting with the word friendship, like what does that mean to you?
Friendship to me means loyalty no matter what. Whether you are winning, whether you are losing, whether you are lost, whether you are coasting, whether all the things that we all experience at some point in our life, it's the people who are there through the highs and the lows. And I think we can all attest that we have had people in our lives that have disappointed us, right? Where you realize when they're there and you realize when they're not. And as I've gotten older, I mean, I'm never ugly to anybody, but there's friendships I grow out of them probably because of that. I'm very protective of the people who are close to me, like my family, like you guys, like who have been there through. I mean, whether we talk all the time or not, it's just kind of there's people who are rooting for you, and that's what
Mm,
I view as friendship.
I love that.
me
That was
too.
like
Yeah.
the best answer ever.
It was. It was. That's an amazing. Yes. Yes.
Like
Yes.
that's the even when you argue or have a like if you can pick the pieces back up and you really want to know why you hurt somebody or then that person wants to know why they hurt me, like truly unselfishly want to know the reason for the argument or whatever it is. I mean, I don't argue with a whole lot of people in my life because I try to get ahead of it ever becoming that. Um, that's friendship too, I feel, is being able to rebuild and when
Mm,
I feel the person really wants to know why.
I love that.
mm,
We talked about that actually with Nikki. Michael is just
yeah.
honesty, and I was thinking about that today. That is a sign of a good friend is when a friend will be honest with you.
Mhm. Very honest. Yeah. I like that too. I don't like ever having to question that because it takes away the safety feeling of a good friendship.
Going back to what you said about you and Michael being like a moth to a flame, I just remember, I'll never forget, just watching you in college. You are like a flame, and everyone wants to be your friend.
Mhm.
It's like I just remember everyone coming to our room to hang out, or just kind of naturally gravitating towards you, and that is, I think it's just natural. It's who you are. You're very open and welcoming and kind. But yeah, I can also see by nature of what we do, that you're just like a flame from all angles of like people want to be your friend because of who you are, but also they want to be your friend just because of the type of person you are and how open and welcoming and kind. Where does that come from? I mean, how much of that do you think is genuinely who you are, versus how much was it taught? Like, did your parents teach you to be a good friend?
I mean, well, thank you for saying that. That's so kind. But I don't know if it was ever like taught to me. I feel like that's innately who I am because it's like, I mean, I still feel like I'm the same person I was in college. Like whenever we think
You
about how
are.
many years have gone by,
You
I'm
are.
like, I
You
still feel
absolutely are.
exactly. And but I feel like my family has grounded me, and I think if I ever did become anything else, not that I've ever had the tendency to do that, I think they would be like, "Where's my Ashley?" But I genuinely feel that that's who I am. Um, I enjoy being happy. I enjoy being around people. I genuinely enjoy what I do. I'm not, that being said, do I have hard times? Have I gone through rough times? Are there times that I've had to choose to be happy? Absolutely. But it's not a facade in any way. It's not like I just feel I've always kind of been this way. As Michael said, like me and my sisters are like pretty similar and in this way. But I just feel like I don't think it was ever taught. I feel like it's just always been who I am. And it's funny because my mom always was like, even as a little girl, I was always bubbly and I would walk into a room and she would never have to worry about me like walking up to a group and making friends. Um, and so she never really had to worry about that, but it was kind of, I was the baby of the family. I think I probably got plenty of lots of attention and love, I just think I was just, happy to be there.
So I'm curious too, like obviously you are a big personality, and there is a beautiful light around you, as we've been saying, and folks who are seeing this will see that as well, and folks who are listening to it will feel it as well. I know that for a fact. But how do you, in being that light and being that big personality for you, what happens when it's when you're not feeling that way, when maybe you're the insecurity of life, and insecurities as we all have them, how do you get through that, and what do you expect from a friend? What do you want in those times, and how do you pull yourself out of that? Because I know you very well, and I know intimately what you have been through on many different levels, and so
Definitely.
what is that like for you, and how are you able to pull yourself through?
It's having, um, when I first had my first daughter, Emmeline, that rocked me. And I think, and it was something I've never dealt with depression. I've never actually, dealt with something that rocked me as hard as just, I mean, I have another baby. It wasn't like, oh, I was mad I had a baby. It was just a very life altering moment
Yeah.
for anybody, not just me. Um, and I think it shook me in a way that I had no idea. Oh, I was just so excited to have this baby, but it kind of messed with my identity a little bit in my own head. And the business is kind of hard on the mamas. It's not very supportive. My husband and I, like, we don't live near any family. So and then we didn't really have like our village that normal people have, which I know I'm not the only person in this business that has children that has felt this way. So I just want to make sure I preface that. Like, I don't want to be like, I'm the only one who's ever experienced this. Um, but it rocked me into a place where I couldn't, it was almost like, because I'd never really dealt with depression, I was like, oh, having a baby is hard. Moving, because I lost my little Frenchie Eddie. I had a baby. I moved to New Jersey. I did everything you're not supposed to do, which is change everything at the exact same time. But I
Ooh.
did. And it was all of a sudden, I just realized I sound like such a suburban housewife right now, but I was literally like in the kitchen, staring out the window, washing dishes, being like, I'm not okay. And it was just a moment. And it was like, I mean, my daughter was probably a year and a half at this point. And it took a very long time just because I'd never dealt with any like type of mental health like issues. And I felt like I kept almost like gaslighting myself in a weird way, because I was like, I'm fine. This will pass. This is normal. And it all is for some. But it wasn't, what I realized is it wasn't normal for me. So I prefaced that in saying I'd never been to therapy before. I had never taken anything. I never, all those kind of things, not because I looked down upon it, but just because it would never occurred to me that I needed it.
Mm.
And once I finally went to my doctor and I was like, I'm like sad and like dealing, and I don't know I don't even know. And basically she was like, I think you have late onset postpartum depression. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, actually, I don't think it's late onset. I think it's late, like me recognizing what was actually my reality. So that was a very hard time. And didn't necessarily have, well, I wasn't comfortable sharing it because it embarrassed me, and it almost made me feel like, because I looked around and I'm like, Ashley, you should be ashamed of yourself. Like, you have a great career, a loving husband, a healthy baby, a house 12 miles from Manhattan that you could, I mean, it's everything I said that I wanted. And I felt I didn't have the right to be sad or have the right to complain, because I am so fortunate. But fortunate people can have a tough time too. And that's something I had to kind of learn and teach myself, and realize that these are all just seasons of life. But in the moment, it feels like it's a forever. And I feel like I just had to kind of trust the process and give myself grace, which is something I haven't always been good at, and allow myself to break and allow myself to not be the perfect one in the room. and allow myself to be a little broken. And once I kind of realized that it's okay to have some time and it's okay to ask for help, um, I have learned to rebuild. And whenever I have those times, I'm like more patient with myself and a little bit more um, graceful with myself. And it's almost like my periods of those when I'm down are shorter only because the realization and the acceptance has come sooner.
Ashley, thank you. If it wouldn't be too loud for me to clap in
Yeah.
front of my microphone, I would. So I'm going to give you jazz hands for that. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
Um, as you know, I've become a huge advocate for mental health. And it's funny, we've never actually spoken about this directly, but you and I were so similar because my sister has been very open. She has dealt with anxiety ever since she was a teen, a young teen. But I was always like, well, that's not me. That doesn't affect me. And so I was very supportive of her, but I was like, well, okay, I don't need to worry about my mental health until different situation, but probably around the same time of our life, something did happen to me, and it kind of rocked my world and changed everything and flipped it on its head. And it was a sad place, similar, that I had to be pulled out from. And I think just sharing our stories, you have no idea how powerful that is, that now that you're in a place where you feel comfortable sharing it, because we all have to deal with our mental health. Some people have mental illness. We all have mental health. And it is a roller coaster. Sometimes you're going to be high, but sometimes you're going to be low. And, the only way we're going to normalize it is by talking about it. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing, your heart. And I know that just you being that open is it will help so many of our listeners and many people out there. I will say, as a friend who was, when you opened up to me about any of that you were going through, and and P.S., as she said, like, and I think this happens to me as well, where you feel embarrassed or you're just ashamed of, like, that you maybe feel this way, on so many levels, that you're just not where what we're used to being, where, like, everything is how it's supposed to be, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
And what I love about you, and during those moments of sharing, was that it made me reflect on myself as well. And so from your, you doing the work that you needed to do, and any of the things that you needed to do with finding help and all that stuff. But you also have been a friend who I feel like, because of what you've gone through and because you were open with a select few of people, I think that also helped your friends as well.
When I was opening up to you, I mean, I think it's like whenever I have friends or sisters or anybody going through something, it's just like, trying to be a good listener and trying to be like, are they asking for my opinion? Are they asking for help? Are they asking? Because sometimes, like, I'm like, tell me what to do. What do I need to do? What would you do? I want to know that. But then there's some aspects of your life that you're like, I actually need to figure this out for myself.
Again, you said something so wise just about listening. And there was something the other day. My husband's in the other room, so I know he's going to laugh about this. But when I get mad, like, I have to just get it out. And I wasn't mad. Let me preface, I wasn't mad at him. He was listening.
He's like, wait a minute.
My point is, I was so mad about something with work, and I was angry, and I was messy with my words. I just needed to get it out. And he was, trying to help and trying to fix. And I finally stopped him and I said, no, I just need you to listen. Just listen. I need to get it out. So as you were going through this and everything, as you've mentioned, you've been through over the past several years, how important was it to just have friends that listened?
Very important. And it's like almost has made me a different person. And it's like, I remember when I found, like, was going through all this with Emmeline, nothing to do with her, but just all my postpartum change. And I just remember calling my sister that has kids. And I said to her, who have kids a lot older than mine. And I said, I'm so sorry that I wasn't a better sister to you when your kids were born and little. only because I didn't know until you had them. And she's like, well, actually, I
Mhm.
never like was upset with you or blamed you. And I said, oh, I know. Like, it's not that she's ever been like, you weren't there for me. It was never, but I didn't know how to do that until you have children. So she was like, well, I never felt that. But I was like, gosh, I wish I could have been like a better like support system for her when her kids were like babies and toddlers and all those kind of things. But I think it was, and so she's been such a great listener for me, but I think it's taught me to just kind of reflect in ways. I'm like, where in the, of course, the past is the past. You can't do it. But I'm like, where could I have been a better listener, a better support system for the people who are important to me? And as I go forward, I think about that, and I think it's made me a better friend and a better sister, wife,
Mm.
everything, mom. It's just kind of like, it's like with kids, it's kind of like, you never want your kids to be sad. You never want them to be mad. It can be very stressful when all those things are happening. And so, like we talked earlier, it's like when I tell Emmeline, I'm like, Emmeline, you can be angry right now. I understand your emotion, but we can't slam doors, or we can't, there's certain, you be mad, girl. I get it. What happened to you? It was very frustrating, but this is how we handle it. But also, normally I would try to like cut it off and just be like,
Mhm.
but now I'm like, what has made you mad? What's the why? What could be done differently next time? And so it's like that, all of that, just knowing that having good listeners in my life has made me definitely better at all of that.
So what do you think about, because you have had friends, friendships where you have a lot of friends who've been in your life for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't have that. Some people, they kind of move on, and there's like sort of pockets of friends for this season and they move on, but you're one of those people who have had friends from like back in the day till now, and
Mm-hmm.
you have a big
Mhm.
village of those kinds of friends.
Mm-hmm.
How have you dealt with like the change of season with those friends, like those long, because we've talked about this on you know in terms of fostering friendship, and like it's like when you're watering a plant and just sort of nurturing those friendships. What's that for you, because you were one of those people who
Mm-hmm.
have that. How do you
Yeah.
nurture your long standing friendships?
I mean, you're correct. Like most of my best friends are either my elementary school friends, y'all, high school. I do have a group of friends that are like my neighbors that I've met as an adult that I would consider very close friends. I just feel like, as you get older, it's harder to make core good friendships. It's hard to have the time to cultivate these friendships as, in your 40s and we're busy and all these things. So for me, I'm like, I don't really have time to meet new people, which I know that sounds so gross. Um, but then you
Why
meet certain,
why is that though? Why do
I,
you why is that, you think, in terms of the you know
I just feel like it's hard to find the time to really get to know somebody unless I'm working with them. Do you
mm,
know, it's like, I mean, I very like, if I'm either at work or I'm home taking care of my kids, but like I said, what I did with my neighbors, like we're like really good friends and travel together. And they are people that I met, 6 years ago.
yeah,
And as time has gone by, because we live on the same street, I've been able to, because I'm very like I'm not like besties with everybody like right away. Like I like to get to know people and I have to trust them and I like to feel safe around them. I don't like to fear of being taken out of context. I don't, all those kind of things go into how I'm going to spend time. And so I think it's harder as an adult because I don't have a lot of time to just meet somebody and then create a friendship. It's taken years, even with my neighbors. And so, for me, I think a lot of the childhood like friendships, I think because like Ashley said earlier, there's no like starting over period. And it's just like we see each other maybe once a year, but we get together and we have the best time. And I think they really know who I am, like deep to our core, like how we do. It's kind of like, and like they say this, they're like, Ashley, you haven't changed. And I just feel comfortable around them. I don't feel like I have to, like, I can let my guard down in front of them. I can, like, just be. And I find a lot of comfort in that.
What you're bringing up is something that's really important, and why we wanted to go on this journey with HypeFriend. Michael and I say we're learning, along the way of how to be a hype friend and what does that look like. And what you're talking about, I think, is so important and not talked about enough. Is friendship is work.
Mhm.
Genuinely, it's work to get to know someone, and I do feel like that's something that, yes, I'm going to sound old right now talking about the kids and the younger
Mhm.
generation, but you know, I think especially growing up, one thing that we need to teach kids is that friendship doesn't just happen. Like,
Mhm.
there is that period of time where you need to put the work in. You need to get to know someone. You need to ask them questions. You need to get together. You need to, you know, do things for that person to show that you care, to show that they can trust you.
Mhm.
And I do think a disconnect that's happening like today is that, especially with social media, because it's so instant, like it's instantaneous.
Mhm.
Where I feel like some people today feel like, well, we just met. Aren't we BFF already? No, no.
Yeah.
A friendship takes time. And,
Mhm.
you've mentioned it a couple times, which I think is important. We all go through seasons of life. And, the season of life that you're in right now, I think we're all in it to a certain extent. We've worked so hard, and we're all very fortunate to get to do some really cool things, but because of that season of life, it can be hard to
Mhm.
foster new friendships.
And I think that's kind of why I'm like, do I have the like I this person has to be I have to have a connection with this person and I want to have this person a part of my life. Like you said, it takes work and it takes time. And I'm very like not selfish with my time because I literally give it to everyone and try to save some for myself. But because we all have marriages that we want to protect and cultivate and help grow and stay. I have two babies, and then like the friends I have, I'm really content. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm like, oh, I went like, and I have my family who I'm very close to, and so I feel like it's not like I'm like, I don't need any new friends. But I think that's why, like, when somebody comes into my life that is like, I'm like, I want to give this time. I have those kind of feelings. I want to make time for this person. I want to, you know, um, have these people a part of my life. And not that my life's so great to be a part of, but I guess I'm like at a point where I'm selective because of the time that it takes.
Well, I will just say, I'm just going to say it because I actually this was a hype earlier for me. We have a hype and gripe section, Ashley Brown, that we
Uh-oh.
do. But this was a hype because a friend of mine in the cast this me. But I'm saying this as a old friend of yours, like for us to sort of like really cultivate a friendship, and I'm just so honored that you feel that way to trust me and to trust our friendship,
Yeah,
for this
fair.
time. And I think it's important to say that because I am also someone who is, I am pretty like, yes, but I also, there's some guarding there, I have to be open to get to sort of,
Mhm.
sort of releasing those layers. So I just want to
Yeah.
say it out loud, because I know who you are, and I know what kind of person you are as a friend. So I'm grateful and very
Well,
honored.
well, I feel the same, and that makes me emotional because I love you so much, and we have known each other for so long, and you've seen me through so much, and I feel like I think the moral of the lesson is just the feeling of safety is so important to me, and you have always made me feel that way, and that's why I call you with my sad news, and I call you with my happiest news, and I know you're going to be there for me, and you can't. There's no price tag to put on that, and so you give me the time and the love and the safety too. So I'm appreciative.
I love this so much. You two are making me
I
emotional,
know. Oh my gosh.
which is great. Remember, there's no bad emotions.
That's
I
right.
tell people, it's like, how lucky are we that we have something that brings us to tears, to
Mhm.
happy tears. And Ashley, I know I shared this in the beginning, but to wrap it up, um, I'll never forget. I was so happy for you. I was so, so happy for you when you became Mary Poppins. And, this was, again, we're dating ourselves. This was before text message had started. And so we had stayed in touch a little bit, but I didn't feel that I was, years had passed since college. And I didn't feel that I was necessarily in your inner circle. And I'm also very protective. And so I was in New York, and I remember telling my husband, we have to go see Ashley. I have to. If there's one thing I do, I have to go see Ashley. So we did. We went and saw you in Mary Poppins, and I remember crying. I remember tearing up because I was so happy for you. You know, those animal cracker moments in our dorm room talking about our dreams. And here you were, you know, just starring as Mary Poppins. It was such a beautiful, wonderful thing. And, but I also remember a little bit of sadness because I was like, ugh, what could have been? What could have been if we had stayed roommates? And I am so grateful through the force, through the wonderful world of Disney, that we've become reconnected. I'll never forget it. I was at D23 Expo, and Michael, I think you were there too, and y'all had been performing, and I was hosting on the stage that you were performing on next. And I wasn't there. I had like walked away, I don't know, to the bathroom or something, and I got a text that y'all were at the stage, and I remember just booking it, like sprinting back so I could see you again. And I'll never forget, it was like it was yesterday. And I'm so, so, so grateful that we've reconnected.
Me too.
And
I mean, it brings me so much joy. I'm like, it's just like you couldn't have written this better for the three of us.
I
You
know.
know, it's like, I mean, we get to like travel the world and cruise together, and you know,
I
it's
know.
like if somebody
Yes.
would have been like, if we tried to be like, this is what we're gonna do in 20 years, everybody would be like, y'all are insane. So it's just like you couldn't have written it better. And I just, every time I see you in the audience, because you're always so great supporting all the Disney on Broadway, everything. And whenever I see you doing everything, all of the incredible things that you have built and made and continue to do, I mean, it is just like, it is like a proud, like, sister moment. It really is awesome.
We are so grateful that you could take the time out and open your heart and come on with us. And you know, and as we said, you are part of the neighborhood, so we want you back.
Yes.
And but we are so honored, and we are so grateful that you came and shared with us today, and to our community out there as well.
Thank you for having me. And y'all know I would do anything for either of you, anytime.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Anything,
you for your
anything.
time, Ashley.
We
All right,
love
love
you. We
y'all.
love you,
Love
Ashley
you.
Brown.
Love
Ah!
y'all.
Wow, Ashley.
Michael, I am literally obsessed with her. I'm
I
just obsessed
know.
with her. I'm
She's
so, so grateful.
it's the
We've
best.
all come back together after all
I
this time.
know. I love this. I love this so much, and you know, especially for all of our listeners out there, the power of connection and the power of like, you know, you never know some of the people who come into your life, like, and what, you know, how they may still be in your life all these years later, or you know, you go away, you come back, like you just never know. So just stay open, you know. It's like
Yes.
stay open on so many. I it's such a testament to that, because my Lord, like I feel so honored and so blessed that we can have that connection with someone like Ashley Brown.
Yes. And, you know, even for me with Ashley, she brought it up a couple times. I know we said it as well. It's seasons of life. And
Yes.
we go through seasons of life, and sometimes people are in your life more or less, but it's just understanding what they're going through, or
Yes.
even giving yourself grace for what you're going through. I think life is about seasons, and yeah, I'm just so grateful that you and Ashley are part of this season of my life, and also
Yes.
everyone here
I know.
listening. Thank
Seasons
you.
of life. I had to. Like we were
You
there.
had to.
Like
You
I
had to.
had to.
I would have joined you if my voice isn't so hoarse like this.
So wait, I feel, gosh, there's so many one last things. Gosh. There's so many one last things. But I feel like the one last thing that really stuck with me was safety. um
Oh yes.
that just feeling safe, you know, with your with a friendship, you know, and I mean, I go way back to my hype at the beginning of this episode, where it's like you know, that friend who gave that amazing, that meant compliment and just sort of like shout out, and it was literally like bringing the energy into the room that you want back. And Ashley has that kind of a thing with her. It's I feel like it's through laughter, and you
Yes.
know what I mean. Like she brings that in. You laugh so much, you feel so safe. You can the energy of what that is makes you feel safe, and you can open up and you can be yourself, and you can just feel good to be able to let your friend love on you and you love on your
Mhm.
friend.
I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. And to stick with that theme of safety, which I love, this should absolutely be our one last thing. With safety, you also have to have trust. You can't have
Ooh,
safety without trust.
yes.
And I feel like that's what Ashley was also saying a lot is part of the reason that she's had some of the same friends for so long is it's such a foundation of trust because you've known those people forever. And I will say, you trust to me either you have to put the work in to earn it or you have my trust until you break it.
Mm,
And I think as you're analyzing friendships, as we're analyzing our friendships, I think we need to analyze how do we build that trust and keep that at the forefront. If a friend is important to you, if you want to make sure that that friend stays in your life, well, you should also analyze, do I have trust with that person? So yeah, this is a good, there were so many wise things that
so
Ashley
many.
said.
Yes,
So
so
many
many.
wise things. I mean, as we go on this journey of friendship, as we're building a friendship revolution, one hype friend at a time,
Come on, Ashley. Come on.
there was so many wise things that were discussed today.
Yes.
And whether you're young and building friendships for the first time or whether you're, an adult, honestly, analyzing your friendships or if you're feeling lonely and wanting more friendships, these are all good reminders no matter what season of life you're in.
Yes. 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 Well, this was a fantastic episode, and I just I love it. I feel rejuvenated. I
Me
feel
too.
I feel good. I feel good. Thank y'all for joining us on
Yes.
this beautiful on this episode of Hype Friend.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back to eating my cinnamon roll.
Okay. Well, wait a minute, and I'm gonna go back to griping you eating your cinnamon roll because still, how dare you?
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Ashley Eckstein. Or no, no, no. Wait a minute. I have to do my Delilah
Oh,
radio voice.
oh.
I'm Ashley Eckstein.
I'm Michael James Scott.
And always remember, be a hype friend. The
The
hype
hype
starts
starts
with
with
you.
you. I can't. Get out of here.